Hey everybody, and welcome back to my channel, and welcome to this week's Friday Reads, where I talk about everything that I finished last week, what I'm currently in the middle of, and what I think I might be getting to next. And I finished one book last week, and that is Comeuppance Served Cold by Marion Deeds. So this is a historical fantasy heist novella. We're set in Seattle in 1929, and it's kind of really difficult to describe, so I'm just going to read the back. So, Seattle 1929, a bitterly divided city overflowing with with wealth, violence, and magic. A respected magus and city leader intent on criminalizing Seattle's most vulnerable magickers hires a young woman as a lady's companion to curb his rebellious daughter's outrageous behavior. The widowed owner of a speakeasy encounters an opportunity to make her husband's murderer pay while she tries to keep her shapeshifter brother safe. A notorious thief slips into the city to complete a delicate and dangerous job that will leave chaos in its wake. One thing's for certain, comeuppance eventually waits for everyone. So, like I said, this is a heist novella of sorts. It's also, we're following a grifter, so or a con artist, and it's fascinating. So that heist or that con is very much the center of this story, right? It's a very plot driven kind of story, and that's really what it is. How that plot is presented is actually done, the structure of this is done very interestingly, where we have it broken up into three different sections. The first section is orphan, and then grifter, and then changeling. And within those sections, very definitely the focus shifts a little, even as we're following the same characters. The focus shifts a little. We're primarily in Dolly's perspective, who is that lady's companion. But occasionally we do shift over to the speakeasy owner's perspective, Violet, and get to see things that she's seeing, which was interesting. We're jumping around in the timeline a bit. It's just very it's very non-linear how we're doing this, and I think it was just really well done, honestly, especially because even as I'm describing this, it sounds extremely complicated, and I don't always do well with complicated, but I found that for the most part I wasn't 100% sure where events were taking place in relation to each other, but I mostly knew, which is a real credit to the writing. So it does tell you at the beginning of each chapter what the date is that we're working with, and also relative time, so 10 days before kind of thing. And that does definitely help, but also just the writing of it, and the author was able to situate us in time and place in relation to the other events of this book, and in a really well. So yeah, it's very plot driven. I can't tell you too much about the plot. I think the structure is incredibly interesting and just well executed. And I liked the characters, although I kind of wish we got more. It's a novella. It's also a heist, and so the focus is on that heist. So I understand why we didn't get too much into the characters, but I would have liked a little bit more, especially about our main character, because our main character has some mysteries to her, and I wanted to know more. And then likewise with the world building, we definitely got enough world building to feel comfortable within the story, but it was very much light touch and not a ton of explanations. And again, it was definitely enough for what we needed it for, but it wasn't I have some questions, and I just want to know more. But I'm a world building person, so I have questions in the sense of I'm just curious, not that I really needed to have more. So yeah, I think it was well done. And I am really hoping that the author decides to write more in this world, especially if we end up following our main character of Dolly, because she was very interesting and I want to know more. But yeah, I really like this. I ended up giving it 4.25 stars. So then I did go ahead and pick up The Ship of the Dead by Rick Riordan, the third book in the Magnus Chase and the Gods of Asgard series. So this is the third and final book of this trilogy, so I can't tell you too much about it other than like we're building to the final conclusion. We have to deal with like the big bad kind of thing. I made it 30 pages into this book before I ended up putting it down. Yeah, 30. I'm on page 30 exactly. And it's fine. Like it's a Magnus Chase book. I don't think that they're the most amazing things, but that's mostly because I'm kind of over YA at this point. But I do think that it's pretty good for what it is. But I only made it 30 pages in because yesterday, I think it was yesterday, we discovered evidence of a leak in our basement. Basically, some of our carpet, wall, baseboard were all wet. It's been really, really rainy here, and so the water is just, or like the dirt is just soaked. And so we think that's why water got in. So we had to kind of like rip apart our basement trying to figure out where this leak is actually is so that we can potentially repair it. We didn't find it. So but it was very, very stressful. And so it's just like as much as this is fine, I can't read it when I'm stressed out. I need something more comfort read, something I've read before maybe. So I went ahead and picked up One Salt Sea by Shauna Maguire, which is the 5th book in the October Day series. So the October Day series is an adult urban fantasy series, and we're following our main character of October Day, who is half fae, half human, and a knight in the fairy realms. And in this book, October has been tasked with stopping a war between the land fae and the water fae. War has been declared, but there's like a 3-day interim period, and she has to figure out a way to stop this war from coming. And the best way to do it is to find some children that have been kidnapped, because kidnapped children is a recurrent theme in these books. And again, she's only got 3 days to do it. And I'm on page 90 of this book. And like, I love these books because it's October Day. This one's a little bit harder because of, the fact that there's missing children and like some interpersonal relationship kind of stuff, which I'm like, barf. It's not my favorite. But like, it's an October Day book, so I'm still really enjoying it, even with that. And it's been really helpful because I am messaging a friend and just kind of snarking at her about some of this stuff. So yeah, this has been a good choice for me to have to pick this one up, as I am a little bit stressed. And so next week, I do want to finish One Salt Sea. I also want to pick up Ashes of Honor and hopefully finish this one as well. This is book 6. And then if I still have time, I would also like to pick up book 7, Chimes at Midnight. Now, so here's the thing. So my friend is reading these books, the Toby Day books, for the first time. This is a reread for me. This is the first time for her. And she's currently in the middle of book 7, but she's paused. And so she's like reading other things, getting caught up on other things. And so I have the potential that like, if I book it, I can potentially get caught up to her. And then whenever she decides to read, I can like read alongside her. That's the thought anyway. Of course, like immediately I'm sure that I'm going to like finish book 5 and then she's going to finish book 7. I don't know. Either way. And then if I have time, I'll pick up The Ship of the Dead again. But honestly, these 3 Toby Day books are more than likely going to keep me fully occupied next week. Although I probably will fly through them. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But that's it. So if you have any thoughts or feelings about any of the books that I have mentioned in this update, leave me a comment down below. Or if you just want to let me know what you've been reading, I would love to hear it. But that's it. So if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you want to, and until next time, have happy reading, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!